Hello, yeah. I've been listening to a lot of what you've had to say. Although I'm not an historian, but what I'll be talking a lot about is actually from the perspective of you saying that people that are, okay, like the Igbos in the Southwest, that they are not supposed to like kind of share any kind of opinion when it has to
Who
do
says
with a
that?
political case.
Who said
I
that?
think I think I from
Wait,
what
wait.
you
Who
said,
said that?
that's
Who
what
said that? Who said
I
that?
think
What you just came up with now? Who said it?
from what you've been saying, that's what I've understood.
Okay, so your
Like
understanding
you
is warped. That's not what I. I didn't say that. I didn't say the Igbos cannot say anything about politics in Yoruba land. I did not say that. So
you said
if your premise is
influence.
wrong, then let's try and be
Influence. Okay.
influence. Yeah, why would you want to
Yes.
influence something in my land? Of course not.
Uh,
You shouldn't.
this is what I'm not like coming to actually attack you or something. This is
Okay.
what me I understand. You understand.
Okay.
I believe some of like me, for example, I've been in where I am now. Maybe my parents were here. I grew up here. What I've come to understand is actually here. You understand? It's not Southwest. So whenever I'm doing anything, I really like I don't visit. I visit my place should lead to progress in a particular place. I'll talk about it if it is possible. I'll try to influence it in such a way that it will lead to progress because my children might also grow up here. The progress of that particular place also will also mean that my children, like people that are coming up from me, will also enjoy progress in that same respect. So when you make statements like when you like infer that you can't influence your policy just because you are coming from a particular geopolitical sphere. I don't think that is actually very right
May I ask you a
because
question?
not
May I ask you a
okay.
question? Let's have a conversation.
Okay.
I think we can. Let's have a conversation. You know anything about United Arab Emirates, right? Maybe you visited before. I'm sure. Probably have visited. You've been, or you've read about it at least. Abi,
I've heard of
Dubai, Abu Dhabi.
yeah.
So Abu Dhabi has more expatriates than Emirates. There are more foreigners in that space. But those
Okay.
people cannot determine what happens as far as politics is concerned. They can't even become citizens. Is it fair?
You mean in Abu Dhabi?
Yes. In Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, in UAE, no matter how long you stay there, you cannot become a citizen. Is it fair?
It's not fair, but that's not. I don't think that is actually the
I'm
case.
going somewhere. I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere.
Okay.
You see, the
Okay.
mistake we make about Nigeria is that we have an assumption that we are one. We are
Okay.
not.
Okay.
We are not. We have what we share is we have a sovereign space that we all share together. But we have several nations within Nigeria. And each of those nations have a way of determining how they want their space to run. You don't run it because you're a Nigerian, you run it because you are part of the people. That is why even when you want to appoint ministers at the federal level, they talk about indigenes of a state. There's something that the federal government is talking about when they mention indigenes. They're not just saying citizens of Nigeria. Anybody that is from Aba or from Abia State, even if I'm Yoruba, I can go and if I decide to represent Abia State, you will stone me.
No, don't say that. Don't say that.
Wait now. What happened to Becky Akeredolu in Imo State?
Who
It's
is
our own hometown. What did they tell her? What did they tell her? They told her to go to her husband's state. Oga, we're just deceiving ourselves. Listen, the truth of the matter is this. Nigeria is blessed. But Nigeria is a very complex space. Everybody has his own space. I cannot go to a TV man and tell him how to run that space. I have one bright idea. If I have a bright idea, I'll suggest it to him. If he throws it away, fine. You know why? He knows how he wants to run his place. If I don't agree with the way he's running is TV land, I can carry my bag and go back to Ife or Ibadan or Lagos. Nobody will stop me. The truth of the matter is that the way we are in Nigeria, our politics is very, very local. And listen, Yoruba land is not the place to come and practice the tribalization. There's no other place in Nigeria where people try to do it. Not in the east, definitely not in the north. What you cannot take at home, for instance, if I ask you now, you probably say yes. What would you think about El Rufai's son becoming the governor of Enugu?
First off, let me say something. That's not what I'm saying. Sure,
that's what I'm saying. I'm just wondering if you can answer that question and you can say what you want to say, please.
Okay, this is what I'm saying. Most of the people that are trying to actually air their view probably in a particular place, they've grown there. That's their space. That's where they live.
It's not their space. You don't understand. It is not their space. And I'll explain again.
Okay.
If you live in my land, let's make it a bit. Let's meet in the center. There are people who move to my land. I'm calling my land going forward because I need to make a point. There are people moving into my land. After a while, I take them to be part of me.
Okay.
Many of those people still live in my land today. When I say my land, all over Yoruba land, there are people who were not Yoruba some generations ago, but now they are Yoruba. We have a process of doing that is independent of the constitution. You are not like that. When you come into my land, you assert that you are one of us. You even assert to be an owner of the land because the constitution says so, even though the constitution does not say so. You say that because I have lived here, I own part of it. Now, people who talk like that, of course, are underdeveloped. Not you, I'm saying generally speaking. But if you come into my space, I don't care if you have lived there for 1,000 years. As long as you are not going to abide by my process of assimilation, every country has something called naturalization. You cannot claim to be British just because you have lived there for 27 years. It doesn't matter. There's a process you go through. Oh, I've been here. I gave birth to all my children in England. Therefore, I'm English. No. Let me tell you something. No matter how many years you spend in England, you can never become English. Me, I can never become English. The best I can get is British.
Okay,
you that are talking now. Wait, hold on. Let's say you move to Surrey or you go to London and you spend your life, I don't know, Birmingham, whatever you spend your life in England. No matter how many years you spend in England, you will never become English. The best they can do for you is British. In Nigeria, no matter how many years you spend in Yoruba land, you cannot become Yoruba. You are Nigerian. The process of making people one of your ethnic people, the process of assimilation into the ethnicity is totally different and it's traditional. Now, this is the crazy part, my brother. Your folks don't believe in that process. And that's fine. I don't even think they should. Since you don't believe in that process, live as Nigerians. But don't assume that you can do what Yoruba man does. You are not Yoruba. The same way you cannot become English even if you grew up in England. It's not difficult. But if you don't mind going through that process, which is rigorous by the way, and a lot of people have gone through it, then maybe you will become something. That's the point. So if you don't go through that process, if you like, stay here for 1,000 years. If you like, have 7 generations, you will still be outsiders.
Okay, I get what you are saying. If I'm trying to infer properly, what you are saying that we are Nigerians, you understand?
Yes.
But Nigerians is just what we are. But we are like, when it now comes to, there are now subsections, like there are nations inside Nigeria. Yes. And their policies superimposes whatever the Constitution tries to infer.
What does the Constitution say?
What the Constitution say? I think the Constitution, when it has to do with, when it comes to Nigerians, if I want to, like if I'm inferring, I think it gives fairness to citizens before any other thing, just like every other country does.
No, it doesn't. Unless you are quoting that stuff. If it gives fairness to citizens regardless of anything, how come you cannot just appoint ministers in the federal cabinet? How come you have to appoint? How come Benjamin Kalu is asking for people to become indigenes of other people's land after staying there for 10 years if indigenship doesn't matter?
You mean who? Please, can you say
Benjamin Kalu.
Okay, you said what did he say?
If citizenship is not important, why is he asking? If indigenship or indigeneity, if it wasn't important, why is he asking that folks who live in a place for 10 years can become indigenes of those states? Why?
I think probably he's trying to, like, although I might not know the position of his thought process, but I think he wants to, like, a kind of give somebody that is living in a particular place a kind of sense of oneness in that particular place.
No, you cannot legislate. That's the problem. You cannot legislate that. Okay. Where's the sense of oneness for the Fulani people living in Enugu? Where's the sense of oneness for the Hausa man living in Enugu? How many governors, how many indigenes of Enugu are Hausa? Hey, this one that's spamming my comment section. What's your name? Obina. Elections have consequences. Okay? That's the answer to your question. There's no law that says you must have. The law is that you must have one person from each state in Nigeria. The fact that you have 5, you should be thankful. So don't be grateful. You guys you don't understand gratitude. So Kendo, if you would round up, I'll bring someone else up. Please go on.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, please.
I'm looking for that section of the Constitution. I'll read that out. But yes, please go on. Section 147, subsection 3. Please listen to this. So this is from the Nigerian Constitution. Section 147, subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. Any appointment under subsection 2 of this section by the President shall be in conformity with the provisions of section 14, subsection 3 of this Constitution, provided that, in giving effect to the provisions aforesaid, the President shall appoint at least one minister from each state, who shall be an indigene of such state. I want to use this to answer 2 questions. Obina, when you say that the entire Southeast has 5 ministers, that's what the Constitution actually allows. At least one. And for a people who did not vote for the President, you should be thankful. The Constitution says you must have at least one minister from each state. You have 5. That's 1 per state. What we should be hearing is gratitude. Oshe o Jesu, imela, imela. You should be happy. Not complaining that Ogun State has Kinikon. What Ogun State did, the entire region did not do. That's 1. Number 2, it says here, that minister shall be an indigene of such state. My question is this: since we are all citizens, why is the Constitution asking us to ensure that whoever is going to be the minister from a state must be an indigene of that state? It means indigeneity makes sense. Indigenship is very, 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 very important. State of origin is very, very important. Anyone who wants to remove either of those 2 things is a thief. I don't care the argument. I have listened to the arguments and they know that they are thieves. They know. And they've done it. See, this didn't happen in the 60s. It's not today. Don't happen before. It says the minister must be an indigene. If indigenship doesn't matter, why is the Constitution specific? Section 147, subsection 3. You can respond and then we'll round up. Please take a minute and then we'll bring somebody else up. Unless, of course, you have another question. Thank you. By the way, if you are a minority ethnic group in Nigeria, you're from the South, you're from the Middle Belt, you know, and you support, remove segregation, it doesn't really matter. You don't understand that the only thing that protects you from the big guys in Nigeria is state of origin. The only thing that protects you in your ancestral space is state of origin. Is the fact that since you are from that state, you can claim to be an indigene of that state. Once you remove that, a group who has maybe less land for whatever reason can move into your space, take over the entire place and call it their own. And guess what's going to happen?